There's a good reason why I haven't taken a black wildebeest in all my trips to Africa. It's because they're tough, and they're not an easy bow hunt. It's a hunt that requires travel to a specific area of southern Africa, and concentrating a week to spotting and stalking the cunning and very spooky beasts. And yes, of course, they're also ugly. Well, at least to some, but beauty is always in the eyes of the beholder. Having spotted a small group of beasts working up a ridgeline, I put my guide Dylan Love on the camera and quickly set up in the brush, hoping they would walk by. As luck would have it, I spotted the beasts coming through the tall grass, and with no way to tell my new cameraman sitting 15 feet behind me, I drew my bow. I'm Tom Miranda, and these wildebeests are as sharp as a tack.
Wildebeest and hartebeest are unique ungulates which roam the African veld. The blue and black wildebeest are unique in and among themselves, the blue being a bold and tough animal preferring bush veld habitat, while the black a skittish and high-strung creature preferring savanna. The blue wildebeest is known as the poor man's Cape buffalo, as they're very tough and require spot-on shot placement. The black wildebeest is known as the clown of the veld. The red hartebeests sport a red coat, and its horns form a heart shape when you look at a mature male head-on from the front. Liechtenstein's hartebeest also sports a red coat, yet their horn configuration is different, with horns more spread and tips pointing rearward. Liechtenstein are found in Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique near the Zambezi River.
Well, here's my cabin. Got my hex on, and of course my camouflage, my Realtree Max 1. I'm gonna take a few practice shots, which I try to do every morning. They've been really kind here to give me a target right outside my room, so I've got a great place to shoot. It's always nice to have that confidence when you can shoot, right there before you go out. We're after black wildebeest, and beautiful place here, but it is wide open. And I decided not to try to hunt out of a blind. We're gonna try to spot and stalk. And the trick to it, I think, is to just be patient and not try to rush it. And hopefully an opportunity will come our way. I'm shooting a new Matthews V3 bow. Beautiful bow, 75-pound draw. Hits real hard. It doesn't have any wall in the back. When you go back to full draw, you're locked in. There's no valley in the back. I'm actually shooting a Sherlock sight on this trip because I'm thinking of longer shots. Also, my bee stinger stabilizer and drop-away rest. Very nice bow, very forgiving bow, very easy to shoot. I'm watching a herd of Kalahari oryx down here. This is my 51st trip to Africa, if you can imagine. 51 trips across the Atlantic Ocean into the southern hemisphere to the dark continent. But I love it. I love everything about it. I love the people, I love the animals, I love the terrain. And each part of South Africa is different. You can be up in the north where my bow camp is, for example, and it's always pretty hot. It's sandy. It's just a different type of habitat compared to when you get down in the Cape, where you've got more intense farming and you've got more open plains and different species of animals. Every animal that you try to stalk, or every animal that comes into the blind, is something new and different. It's like the very first trip I came to Africa years and years ago. It's like Christmas shopping. When you're here, you just don't know what you're gonna get. The black wildebeest really likes wide open spaces, and so in this scenario, we're gonna be lucky if we can get one to come in to the trees or one to come by a bush. My only goal is that if I can spot some moving at a distance, that I can move into position and hide in the shadows beside a bush or something, and they can walk into range. This is a perfect situation because we've got black wildebeest coming this way. There's
place they can water down here, and they may be moving to that. We're gonna try to intercept them before they get here. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go down and we're gonna stay low in the lowest places we can, in the shadows if we can, and we're gonna move down in where there's a couple of trails that come together by some bushes, and we're gonna set up there. They aren't gonna come by us here. We're gonna have to go down there. If you're going to try to sneak in on an animal, you need them bedded, you need them behind a rock, you need them in some place that no matter what you do, or if the sun pops out or anything that can happen, that he can't see you, that his eyes are always covered. Maybe it's only by a tree when you're getting into that last little stalk. We've got to use the terrain to our advantage, so we need the animal in a specific place or moving to a specific place, and that's the key for me, is I want to have an animal that's moving to my position. These black wildebeest in particular, they don't like to get into the trees too much, so they're gonna kind of stay away from the trees. And their maybe cushion might be 60 or 80 yards from the trees. So if we're in the trees, we're gonna probably have a distant shot like that. When the black beast appeared, he was on the move. I knew the yardage and the shot would be a poke. I led him slightly, but just before the arrow hits, the bull reflexes in an attempt to duck the arrow, as if he heard it coming or saw a glimpse of it. The arrow hits high, and amazingly, the beast spins and bucks, giving me time to re-nock and get off a second arrow. The bull turns slightly into the second shot, and the broadhead enters in front of the shoulder and up through the neck. Now this is a killing shot with a Rage 2-blade Extreme, and the bull begins to buck again. But before I can get another arrow reloaded, he starts to walk off. Embedded under a tree, where I watched him for quite a while, and eventually snuck up and shot him again. Check this out. Oh, look at this thing. Look at that. Wow. A very difficult bow hunt when you're on the ground eye to eye. We spotted these. There's actually 4 of them moving through the tall grass. We stayed as much in the shade as possible between trees until we could get in position. This one steps out. It's walking away. No real way to stop them. They're so high-strung animal. You make a noise, they're going to stop, face you, maybe just run. So I took a shot at him while he was moving. Look at this tuft on the muzzle. Nice long tuft. And look at the bosses, real nice bosses. Totally different horn configuration than the blue wildebeest. The blue wildebeest is more like a Cape buffalo. We've got the bosses, and then the horn comes straight out and curves around, where these go out the front and straight up. I mean, look at that. Just incredible. This is called the white-tail gnu. The white-bearded gnu is the famous migrating wildebeest that crossed the Serengeti. These particular ones populated southern Africa back in the 1800s, and the settlers came in and they wanted to have livestock, sheep and cattle, and they started shooting these because they were breaking fences and eating a lot of the natural grasses. And a couple of farmers in South Africa decided to put a conservation model together and fence in a few of these and try to bring some of these animals back. And today there's over 18,000 of these white-tail gnus, or black wildebeest, in South Africa. It's a conservation success story. I just love bow hunting, and this is why. What a fantastic black wildebeest.